Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we've got the infotainment demo of the 2022 Toyota GR86. In this video, we're going to take a look through the gauge cluster and the infotainment touchscreen, talk about its functionality, and take a look at Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at the car. I love the way this thing looks, especially in this bright red color. It's such a fun, lighthearted sports car look, and I think it's quite mature and attractive now as well. If you do want to see more on the 86, we've got a ton of different videos. We're going to be doing a sound system review of this premium model's 8-speaker sound system. We also have a review of the BRZ's 6-speaker sound system if you'd like to compare. We're going to do a highway fuel economy test and a DM review. I'll put the links to everything in the description. Now, this is a pretty simple car. It's kind of got one purpose, be an affordable sports car, and it does a really great job at that. But because of that, the tech suite's going to be a little on the simpler side, but that doesn't mean you're making too many sacrifices. In the gauge cluster, you've got an all-digital setup, tachometer right in the middle. Gotta make sure you guys can see this here pretty well. Tachometer in the middle, your speed smack dab in the middle as well. I like that there's just a digital readout for speed, and informational displays flanking on the right and left. For steering wheel controls, you have volume and track and phone and media things on the left. And then everything on the right is going to relate to controlling this screen. You've got a 4-way directional toggle. That's going to toggle through your right and left sides here. Actually, just your left, I believe. So let's start out in this informational screen at the top. You have battery voltage, oil temperature. Scroll down, you've got average fuel economy, live fuel economy, and distance to empty. Average speed, total time traveled, and total miles traveled on your trip. TPMS readout. As you can see, we have a nail in the left rear tire, so I got to get that fixed after this video. Then you can toggle to the right and get a G readout. These are kind of more your performance screens. This is sort of a longer term G readout. This looks like it's more of an active live readout. Then you have, this is kind of fun, a little horsepower and torque graph. So as you accelerate, you can see how much power you're making. That's pretty fun. A little stopwatch built in there on the performance screen too. Continue to the right, you have your audio screen. Continue some more, you have driver assist functionality you can turn on and off. A little settings screen to change your units. A warning volume for things like leaving your door open, etc. And some screen settings. You can have your startup screen on or off. Let's actually turn that on. And a rev indicator. Oh, look at that. If you turn that on, and you can change the rev here. Maybe if you had a break-in period or something, you didn't want the car to go over a certain engine speed, you could actually set that and even set a little buzzer to go off after you hit a certain RPM. That's interesting. And if you have any active messages, it'll pop up here on this little message screen. Doesn't look like you have any way of customizing the right side of the screen. That tells you temperature, your time, coolant temp, and fuel level. For the infotainment display, it's a pretty straightforward setup. I do appreciate the physical controls for the HVAC and some physical controls for the radio and infotainment screen as well, on top of a physical volume knob and tuning knob. Starting up in the top left, you have radio. Apparently, there we go. It'll take a little time to get up. This is your FM screen, shows some agnostic favorites down at the bottom, meaning that you can have favorites for any of the different radio bands. AM screen's going to look very similar. Sirius XM doesn't look like you have a way to pause and play, but you can choose different. If you go to browse, you can kind of choose through your various stations, go to categories, set your favorite team. So if a certain sports team that you enjoyed was playing at a certain channel, you could go straight to that. It might notify you. Oh, replay. There we go. So you can control and actually pause and go backwards. So you just have to click that replay button. Let's go back home. Then you have your media screen. That's where you're going to get to your Bluetooth, USB, and if you're doing iPod or iPhone plugged in, you can control music through there as well. If you do want to see more on the sound settings, check the link in the description for the sound test. Phone screen. I don't have a phone paired right now, so let's see how. Let's actually go ahead and see how quick and easy that process is. Add a device. Yes. I'm going to take a new device here. Open it up. Go to my Bluetooth screen. Toyota GR86 pops up. Very easy. Not a long process. Not super fast, but not too bad. And we are connected. It should be noted that Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are both wired only. No wireless support in this one. So here's your phone screen. It's going to show you your recent calls, your favorites in there, and then you can go right to a keypad, dial out a call if you so desired. And the screen has pretty good contrast. The font is not very high resolution. It doesn't look very modern or fantastic, but I gotta say, it's easy to read and big, easy buttons, easy to use as well. You have some apps here, SiriusXM Travel Link, that'll give you weather and traffic information, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto if they were connected, and then a roadside assistance app. Then you have the roadside assistance app full right here. It doesn't look like we have a subscription to Toyota Safety Connect. Let's skip settings for the moment, go into maintenance. Oh, look at that. That's going to tell you when the last time you had certain services done. Maybe because the vehicle's not started, it's not telling me the engine oil and oil filter, but it is telling me tires were last serviced 1,000 miles ago. Looks like you can add a shortcut as well. We already have shortcuts for all these, but maybe we can go to something specific like phone. You could actually have a shortcut for calling a certain contact. That's really nice. So you could have smack dab in the middle, call your husband, call your wife, something right on there. That's sort of neat. Doesn't look like there's any other screens to switch to. Maybe if we added enough shortcuts, it would overflow to the next screen. So let's go into settings. Here's how you change your clock. Very easy to do. Time setting. You can either have it go automatically or put in something manual. Very easy to do there. Clock format between 12 and 24 hours. You can add driver profiles. That's a nice feature to have. Change aspects of your display. You can turn it off. Let's see if it turns all the way off. Hard to tell in the daylight, but it does seem like it's pretty darn dark. You can also adjust things for your brightness and contrast. Looks like brightness is all the way up right now. Adjustments for Wi-Fi. You can connect the vehicle to Wi-Fi and probably get some sort of system updates that way. Reminder screen. What was that? Reminder screen for maintenance, birthday, and anniversary. I always find this funny. You can turn this on and actually... Oh, how do you... So it must be somewhere else in the settings you can set your anniversary. I remember that from previous Subarus. Meter screen, gear shift indicator, startup screen, and meter rev indicator. Okay, so you can actually customize similar settings from over there to over here. Adjustments for language and camera. Here we go, birthday list and anniversary list. You can put in anniversaries right here and it'll actually notify you of those birthdays and anniversaries. That's fun. Everything else, pretty software and system related. Let's go over to sound. You can adjust various adjustments for beeps and volumes. Phone, different device settings. Some parental controls for SiriusXM. What do we have in car? You can change for how long your defogger will stay on, how long your interior lights will stay on, welcome lighting, adjustments for the keyless entry, driver door unlock. I'd like to unlock all. One-touch lane change, on or off, blind spot, warning, steering responsive headlights. I like having that. Various adjustments for your units. All right, let's get our phone plugged in and check out Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. I'm going to do CarPlay first just because that's the cable that's already in. When you plug the device in, then you get a second screen because that shortcut gets booted over and you have an Apple CarPlay icon. There it is, taking up the whole screen. Kind of a strange resolution, or not resolution, but aspect ratio, but still works pretty well. Looks like we're greeted with YouTube Music to begin. Let's go up to Google Maps. Again, not a huge display, so something to keep in mind, but again, not really the purpose of the car either. There's your settings screen. Looks like the responsiveness and the refresh rate is okay. It's not fantastic. Let's take a quick look at the dialer. Okay, how about Android Auto? Plugging in my Android Auto device, I am prompted to enable Android Auto, and then my phone pops up, says continue setup, happens very quickly, and we are already up. That is less than a 10-second process to be running with Android Auto. Greeted with Google Maps to begin. Again, looking nice. Let's go to YouTube Music. YouTube Music, in the Android Auto setup. Go home. There are all your apps. Similar responsiveness to CarPlay. There's your settings screen. And where's your dialer? There's your dialer in your phone right there. So there you have it, the infotainment screen and gauge cluster on the Toyota GR86. And this would be pretty darn similar in the BRZ, maybe with a few different changes for fonts and gauges, but overall pretty similar system. Very straightforward and easy to use, if a bit simple. If you do want to see more on the GR86 and BRZ, check the links in the description, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.